Hello and welcome to today's lesson, which is on bar charts. So we're just going to go straight into it and have a go at drawing a bar chart. Now when you do this, you're going to need a ruler and you're going to need a pencil. The reason that we use a pencil is so you can rub it out if you've made any mistakes, because if you use pen you're not going to be able to do that. Now I am going to be using my pen today. However, the difference between my pen and your pen is that I can actually rub my pen out, okay? So do make sure that when you're doing it, you are using a pencil, okay? So let's have a look at this first one then. So the plot a bar chart using the data below. And we've got here our favourite fruit on the left-hand side and our frequencies on the right-hand side. Now, there's some key things to know about the bar chart. Now, this data here is called discrete data. So that's any data that can be counted. So we can count the number of apples, we can count the number of pears. And that means that we need to have gaps in between. As a rule of thumb, most bar charts have gaps in the middle, and that's because most of them use discrete data. If you weren't using discrete data, usually it's a histogram, in which case you don't have any gaps in between of it. So make sure you have gaps in between your bars. You're also going to need to have a good axes, so you need your frequency going up, and you also need your favourite fruits, in this case, going along the bottom, and you're also going to need a title as well. One of the key things they're looking for is making sure that things are uniform. So making sure the axis on the right hand side is the same and making sure that your bars are the same going across. Now, if you've got square paper, use square paper. However, if you don't, it's not the end of the world. You can use your ruler and use the spacings on your ruler to help you. Now, I'm doing mine on line paper. The reason for that is because I want you to show you that you can do it on line paper. Okay, there's no reason that you can't do it on that. You just need to take a bit more time and make sure that things are set out right. Super. So let's get started. So the first thing we're going to be looking at is how high my frequency is going to be. So how high I'm going to go up on the left hand side. Now I need to go up by, highest here is 6. So I'm going to go up by 6. Now try and make sure that this is as straight up as possible. Maybe use the side of your page if you need to. That's what I'm using here. And I'm going to go down. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to go just a few more just to make it life a little bit easier, okay? And then we need 1, 2, 3, 4 going across here like so. Now I'm going to use, because I'm using an A3 sheet, I'm going to use the inches side just to keep them even. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put my first inch on there like so, and I'm going to go across, and then I'm going to mark out where I want them. So I'm going to use every inch as a block. So here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now the reason I've got 8 there is because remember you need to have that gap in between. So now I'm going to label my axes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to stop at 6 there because I'll need to put a title in on that side. And then here, I'm going to, there's my first bar, there's my second bar, there's my third bar, and there's my fourth bar. And in this one here, I'm going to write apple. So there's that bar for apple. In this one here, I'm going to write pear. In this one here, I'm going to write gap orange. And in this last one, I'm going to write banana. Now do make sure you're leaving those gaps, that's really important. Now the other thing you need to do is to label these axes. So this one here is your frequency. Maybe I should have given a bit more space there for that one. So frequency on the left hand side, and then on the bottom I'm going to label this as favourite fruit. Now do make sure you're having a go at this. Make sure you're not just watching the video, because remember the only way to learn maths is to do it. So practice doing these skills and that's what's going to help you out. So apple, I need to go up by 6. This is my biggest one. Make sure these lines are straight. Maybe use your other lines to help you. I'm going to go up to 6 there like so. And up to 6 there like so. And use across there, and there's my apple there like so. So pair is actually only 3, so I'm going to go up 3 here. Now, if you're struggling to keep that line perpendicular, the way that I do it is I tend to use the longest lines going across on my ruler. So I'm going to put that 5 there, trying to make sure that it's in line and it's not like this, if that makes sense. So here I've got 5 and I'm going up to 3 there and up to 3 there, like so. And I'm going across. I should probably use a ruler for that bit there. So there's pear. And then we've got orange, which is 5. Like so. And banana, which is 4. So notice how everything is evenly spaced. There are even amount of gaps in between it. I've got my axes. I do need a title as well. So this is a bar chart to show favourite fruit. Brilliant. Okay, so bar chart to show favourite fruit. I've got, make sure everything is even. Make sure you've got your label, your axes labelled. Make sure that you're evenly spaced going up your axes. Try and keep everything the same as possible. Now, the last thing you want here is to have like one of these bars bigger than the other and this one bigger than the other. If you're using square paper, then maybe you just want to pick an amount of squares that you need to go across. These kind of things are the important parts, okay? Not just the frequency, they have to be evenly spaced. Okay, so let's check that answer. Super. So notice that their bars are a little bit thicker, but it's still evenly spaced, okay? We've got the frequency on the left-hand side, favourite fruit on the bottom. Brilliant, absolutely super. So let's have a look at our next question. So our next question isn't asking this time to draw the bar chart. They're asking you to interpret the data. Now, this is 3 marks. This actually came up on a past paper question. So I'll rub this out. So let's have a look. Maybe if you're feeling confident, I'll make it big. Maybe pause and have a go at it yourself. So pause now and see if you can do that one yourself. 3 marks, that's worth. Okay, so let's go through and have a go together. So here we've got our country, Brazil. And what's the frequency on that one? The frequency on that one is, well, it's in between 16 and 17 and it's exactly halfway. Sorry, 16 and 18, so it's going to be 17 for Brazil. For Kenya, that's in between, that's exactly 12 going across. For Jamaica, that's the same. That's also 12 going across. And then for South Africa, that is 6 going across there, like so. Brilliant. So nice and easy. It's just about interpreting. It's just about knowing that you can actually use a bar chart. Now, this is your kind of your basics. It does get a little bit tricky when we look at fractions, percentages, but we'll look at that in a second. Let's check that. 17, 12, 12 and 6. Super. So I thought I'd put up a full past paper question on bar chart. So exactly how it comes up in your exam. So I'll make this big. Maybe pause and have a go at this one. Have a go at answering all those questions. This came up on OCR quite recently, actually, in the November paper. It was the first question that came up. So have a go at this. Okay, so I'm going to struggle to draw that because I haven't got this printed, and you might feel the same as well. But what I will do is I will practice doing the frequency on the side here. So it's already got the frequency. Now this is going up to 28. It's saying that we need to plot Spain, which is up to 14. So I'm just going to do only Spain, okay? So I'm going to go down here like this. Now the thing you need to think about when you're plotting a graph is how many do you need? So 28, you can either do that in 1s, 2s, or 4s actually. So I'm going to suggest that I'm going to use fours, and the reason is because I want to get all the way up to 28. And so I'm going to start here like so. So I've got 0, 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28. Make sure I label that as frequency. Now I'm just going to look at Spain, but I do want to make sure that my bars are evenly spaced out. So notice that I'm just going to do Spain, which is there, just to show that we can do it. So Spain on there, and I'm going to go up to 14. Now the problem with 14 is it's between 12 and 16, so I need to be in the middle of those two, just to get some practice in. There we go, there's 1, there's 2, draw my line, and I would need it's already got country on the bottom here. Let's just make sure you can see that. Yeah, so there's Spain, that's done, brilliant. So that was part A, 1 mark for that. Now part B says, complete this sentence. Something was chosen by the fewest people. Now we look on our graph, which one was chosen by the fewest people? Well, that looks like it's German, doesn't it? Because that's the smallest bar, so I'd write in that one, Germany. Now look how many marks we're getting for this. We're getting 4 marks in our GCSEs. So this is a bit of a gift, isn't it? It's really lucky for us. So complete this sentence. Blank people chose France. So we go over to France. How many people? Well, you notice on their France chart is slap bang in the middle between 24 and 26. So that is going to be 25 people chose France. And the last one, now this one's, they usually get gradually harder. Complete this sentence. Blank more people chose Italy than Mexico. Now with this one, they're saying how many more people chose Italy than Mexico. So the first thing we need to do is look across. I'm going to get my head nice and close so I know I'm not making a mistake. So Italy is 18. Mexico, I'm going to use my ruler to go across on the screen. Mexico is 12. So in which case, how many more is there for Italy? Just check Italy. Yeah, Italy's 18. How many more than Italy than Mexico? Well, there's going to be 6 more, isn't there? Brilliant. Now that is a full GCSE question on bar charts. Really nice, really straightforward. Okay. And a gift of marks. Let's just check those answers. So Germany 25, 6, and then we've got our chart as well. Absolutely perfect. And notice that I managed to do all of that without actually having that printout. So you can do this online as well. So let's have a look at our next question. Now, these usually come up at the end of the questions for bar charts. So it's usually like, they usually try and push you that little bit further. Now, these don't just come up in bar chart questions. They come up in frequency polygons. They come up in cumulative frequency, if you're looking at that. Scatter graphs, maybe. These kind of questions, where it's kind of linking to another topic, come up all the time in data. So I wanted to make sure that we were getting this one right. So I'll make this one big on the right-hand side. Let's see. So a bar chart shows the favourite musical instruments of some students. Find the proportion of students who prefer guitar, giving your answer as a fraction in its simplest form. So this is taking it to the next level. The proportion, what we're looking at here is the amount of people who play guitar. Is it guitar? Yes. Yeah, guitar, out of the total amount of people, and then we need to simplify it down. This is usually worth about 2 marks, but this is the extra that we need to do. So the thing we need to find out is basically we're combining all of the questions we've looked at so far. So piano is how many people? Piano is 3 people. Guitar is 8 people. Drums is 1. The bass is 5, and the oboe is 3. Brilliant. So what we need to work out here is the total for all of these, and I do that by adding these up. I'm going to quickly do this on the calculator. You can do this in your head. Chances are, in fact, sometimes this will come up on a non-calculator, but I think you'll be fine with that. So 3 plus 8 plus 1 plus 5 plus 3 is 20. So the total is 20. So it's asking for the fraction of people who play guitar. So the fraction of people who play guitar is 8 out of 20. Now I've not finished there because they've asked it for in the simplest form. So I've got to simplify this down. So you can think about what numbers go into this. 2 goes into it, 4 goes into it. So let's do 4 first of all. So how many times does 4 go into 8? 4 goes into 8 twice. How many times does 4 go into 20? 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. So that's 5 times. And that's it. That's that question finished because we can't simplify that any further. So this is the proportion or the fraction of people who play guitar. So pause now and have a little go at that one on the right-hand side. So pause now and have a go at that. Okay, so let's have a go at this together then. So it's very similar. We need the total amount because they're looking at the proportion. So we're looking at very good, which was 11. We're looking at good, which is 15. We're looking at, now I'm going to use my ruler to go across with this on the screen just so I can see it. Make sure it's right. Yeah, good. So satisfactory is 5 and poor is 4. Super. So I need to find the total of all of these, which is going to be 11 plus 15 plus 5 plus 4, which is 35. And it wants the fraction, giving it the simplest term of good. So in which case, good is 15 out of 35. What number goes into 15 and 35? Well, 5 goes into it. How many times does 5 go into 15? 3 times. How many times does 5 go into 35? Well, let's do it. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. So 7 times there, like so. And that's that question done. Super. So let's check those answers. 2 over 5 and 3 over 7, absolutely perfect. Last little part to kind of think about. Now, again, these questions come up as like a part D. They are usually at the end of the bar chart question. In fact, you can see this one here, the one on the right, was actually a past paper question. It's from OCR, and that is 2 marks there. So these ones do come up. So, this question on the right says, find the percentage now of students who have exactly 2 siblings. Now, this is very, very similar to the last question. You've just got an extra part at the end where you need your denominator to be 100. Now, there's 2 ways we can do that. So first of all, I need to find out the fraction or proportion of people who have exactly 2 siblings in this case. So don't be too confused by the 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, because this is the amount of siblings. So if you've got 0 siblings, how many people have 0 siblings? Well, 4 people have 0 siblings. How many people have 1 sibling? And that is 6. How many people have 2 siblings? That is 7. How many people have 3 siblings? That is 6 again, is it? 3 is 6, yes, that's 6. And how many people have 4 or more? That is 2. So the total of all of these is equal to 4 plus 6 plus 7 plus 6 plus 2. Don't be confused by those other numbers. 4 plus 6 plus 7 plus 6 plus 2, which is equal to 25. Super. So, if we want the proportion who have exactly 2 siblings, that is this one here, which is 7. So that's going to be 7 over 25. Now, that's writing it as a fraction. If we want it as a percentage, percent means out of 100. So there's 2 ways you can do this. You can either type it straight into your calculator, so your fraction, and then times it by 100. So times by 100 there, like so, and it will give you your answer. Okay, or so that's 28 there. Or we can, if it's on non-calculator, make the denominator 100. So in this case, it's 25. So to make the denominator 100, I'm going to times by 4. Okay, so 25 times by 4 is 100, 7 times by 4 is 7, 14, 21, 28, exactly as I said, 28 out of 100, which is equal to 28%. And people usually get stuck with those last questions, so they're usually neglected quite a lot, but these are the ones which are really important, the links to that harder part. So, pause now and have a little go at that one on the right-hand side. So pause now and have a go at that one. Okay, so let's have a look at this together. Last question for us here. So what percentage of year 1 go home for lunch? So what percentage of year 1 go home for lunch? Now there is an extra added layer of this. Now this isn't saying what percentage of all the students go home for lunch. It's saying what's the percentage of year 1 students that go home for lunch. So I only need the data for year 1. So I want the year 1 data. Okay, so year 1, there are 16 in that dark one, which is have school dinner. There are, let me just use my ruler again to go across, just want to make sure that's right, 6 who go home, and to bring a packed lunch, that is 8. So to work out the total there, it's going to be 16 plus 6 plus 8. So 16 plus 6 plus 8 is equal to 30. Brilliant. And we want the percentage of year 1 who go home for lunch. So how many people go home for lunch? That was this one here, wasn't it? So it's going to be 6 out of 30. Okay. Now notice that this is on a calculator paper. It's 2F, so it's the second paper of OCR. In fact, the second paper of OCR is non-calculator actually. So we need to make this out of 100. Now what I'm going to suggest with this one is we need to break it down and then build it back up. So first thing I need to do is the issue I've got here is the fact that 30 doesn't go straight into 100. Okay, so I need to, as I said, break it down first. So what number goes into 6 and 30? Now, 6 goes into both of these. So how many times does 6 go into, let's divide by 6. Divide by 6. How many times does 6 go into 6? Once. How many times does 6 go into 30? 5 times. Brilliant. Okay. And then I need to make the denominator 100. So how many times does 5 go into 100? And that's 20 times. So I need to times the top by 20 as well. 1 times by 20 is 20 over 100, which is 20%. Okay? So we need to break it down and then build it up. And that's why it's 2 marks. That's why it's the 11D. So it's kind of the last part of a bar chart question. If we did have a calculator, we know we could have wrote it as a fraction. So I'll do it on here. 6 over 30 times by 100, there like so. 6 over 30 times by 100, which is the 20%, which is what I've got. Brilliant. So let's have a go at some of these questions then. 28% and 20%. So pause now and have a little go at these yourself. These are all past paper questions. Pause now and have a go at those. There's 2 worksheets here. Okay, I'm going to pop the second worksheet up. So have a go at that second worksheet. Brilliant. So mark these in green then. Super, so thank you for watching this video on bar charts. Do make sure you're having a go at these because the only way to learn maths is to do it, and have a lovely day.